Hey everybody, welcome to let's see what day is today. Today's Thursday. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is the show where we have a great time. We talk about comedy, we talk about sports, but we mostly talk about sports with comedians. If you're not familiar with the show, that's what we do. We shoot up and have a great time and have these great conversations and everything else with a lot of these comics. And then these comics sit down and they tell us their thoughts and their process on what they're thinking about the sports of what's going on in today's world. First up is my man known as Fig. Fig, what's crack lacking, bro?
What the deal, man? In the building. Happy Thursday.
Same to you too, bro. I'm waiting for a couple of other fellas to jump in here. I saw a couple of them pop up and a couple of them pop out. You know how this goes. The internet. Some of these cats been the internet in there. Wherever they are, that's another thing about this show. They be traveling.
Hey man, that's the thing. What happens when you borrow your internet from your friends and your neighbors?
Yeah, that's hilarious because that's exactly what happens. All right, what we normally do is we get started with the COVID report. We always talk about what's jumping off, what's going on in the world and everything else. Interesting things. A couple of things. Number one. Let's see, Bruce Arians, coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he said that he is not going to let any Buccaneers players who travel with the team, obviously during the season, he's not going to let any Buccaneer players travel with the season. He's not going to let them leave the hotel for a road trip. This is my man Talent, too. Talent was cracking.
There he is.
What up, baby?
How you doing, sir? So I'm gonna start with you, Fig, and because we got the Bills player Isaiah McKenzie. He got fined for not wearing a mask. Cole Beasley got fined. Cole Beasley from the Bills, he got fined for COVID violations and everything. And Ryan Tannehill got put on the COVID vaccine list this morning, right after, as we know, a couple of days after the Titans coach, he got tested positive too. So I'm gonna start with you, Fig, since you heard the first part, beginning of the part. Tell me what you think.
Now, are you talking about these guys we're talking about the unvaccinated? Because that's the part that you didn't say.
Yeah, they look like they all unvaccinated. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, man, because I understand the restrictions because here's the thing. We talked about in quite a few shows ago that if a team has to forfeit a game, then they won't be paid. So this seems like preemptive measures that some teams are putting into their unvaccinated players. Say, look, when we go on the trip, you can't leave the hotel. You got to stay in the hotel. It's almost like being sequestered or in a temporary bubble, if you will, because God forbid you have too many players test positive for COVID and you forfeit the game. Then nobody gets paid. It won't be. You said there won't be any makeup games or anything like that. So I guess at the end of the day, it's you like protecting some of these players from themselves. I mean, they're adults, but some precautions. If you're not going to get vaccinated, it's your right. It's your own personal business. But some precautions have to be put in to protect the team and basically possibly to protect the players from themselves.
Talent. NFL is trying to do everything they can do except saying it's mandatory that you got to take these vaccinations, bro. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I get it, bro. It's like any other workplace, ourselves included. When we go to these clubs, even though we're back out and we're trying to do things and resemble some sort of normalcy, you have to protect yourself. And during the season, like he said, it's no different than when they did the bubble. We're enclosing this thing. This is our team. We got to do our part in keeping us together and that we're not just spreading this thing and stuff like that. So I totally get it. Everybody's got their own thing they're going to do.
Yeah. The crazy thing about this, man, is that the way the NFL is handling and the way some of these individuals and these individual teams are handling, I'm sure, I said it last year, it didn't happen, but I think sooner or later, why we didn't just miss the COVID, I think we're going to miss the star or two is going to, be kicked off the team or something like that.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Yeah, yep. It's inevitable. The way that it's literally lining up. And what I'm fearful of it, if it's going to be a Patrick Mahomes got to miss a game or somebody going to miss a game because they're going to be in that 5-day window, you know what I mean? Because they ain't take the vaccination or whatever happens. That's what I'm scared about. Let's move on, man, because there was a topic My wife and I got into this serious debate last night, right?
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it wasn't.
I'm sorry you had to take a beating like that, Frank.
No, I ain't said that. I said debate. Here's
listen,
the debate.
you can take a beating in the debate too, man, especially with your wife. Listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I lose on purpose.
It wasn't an argument. It wasn't a thing. It was really literally we were having a constructive conversation, and she brought up some great points, and it made me think of some things like, I didn't think of these things too. So I'm gonna throw it out there to you guys, especially you guys sitting at home watching this show, and I want you guys to tell me how you feel on this point. This is the fact. And I'm gonna start with you, Talent. The fact is Rachel Nicols got fired from ESPN, and she got let go from the show she called The Jump. She was also the sideline reporter who did the interviews after the games that happened every game for the last 2 years. Actually almost 3 years and everything else. She wanted to be the sideline reporter, to be having the interviews and conducting the interviews during the game. She got recorded. These are all facts. She got recorded having a personal conversation talking to another colleague, saying that she felt that Maria Taylor should not have been able to jump over her to be able to do that. And she felt that ESPN was fast tracking her because she's a minority. And because she's a minority, she felt that, now she didn't say that Maria Taylor is not good, because Maria Taylor is good. She was saying that Maria Taylor should not have jumped past her because she felt she was the one who was rightfully in line to be the reporter who did the reporting during the games. And she felt Maria Taylor should have did the stuff after the game. Now, if you watched the stuff last year in the bubble, Maria Taylor was the only one who went to the games during the bubble. Maria Taylor was the only one who also was doing the games and everything else, not only during the games and after the games. And ESPN took all that in consideration. They said, you know what? We feel that she should be the one to be the reporter. Now, fast forward, Rachel Nicols says that she gets caught. She ultimately gets reprimanded because of outside pressure. She ultimately loses her job and ends up getting fired from ESPN. And now she basically has no job. So my question to you, Talent, is, first of all, Rachel Nicols was recorded privately, but was it handled fairly to you? Now, my wife thinks that it was handled fairly. I think it wasn't handled fairly, only because Rachel Nicols was recorded in the privacy of her own home or privacy of her own office. She shouldn't have been, I think, because it was private between her and somebody else, even though it was a little bit off the thing, I still don't think that they should have fired her for a private conversation. You follow me?
I disagree. I agree with your wife.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me why.
And I'm going to tell you why. When people are entrusted with positions and jobs and placement, it's because there's a reason why you do an interview or vetting, because you're trying to figure who this person is and who they are, what they stand for, their thoughts, their beliefs. You factor all that in. And some people are very good at getting by that vetting process. But if I hired you, because I want my office for corporation to be very diverse and very good people and everything, and you get through that. You fool me in the vetting or the interview. You get in, you're here for a bunch of years, you're doing your job very well, you're climbing, blah blah blah, and in private, you have a conversation which is proof that you are a racist. Yes, it was private. And, the fact that now I'm privy to this information that you are not who I thought you were, or you didn't believe what I thought you believed and moved a certain way. And in fact, when you clock out, you take this face off and you're a whole nother person. If I become privy to that information, I have every right and rule and regulation in the world to not want to do business with you anymore, to not want you to be a part of my team or my family anymore. So I think it was handled right. And here's the thing. After hundreds of years of us not getting ahead or anything because we're black, if somebody got something because they're black, I don't think that's an issue. Not right now.
All right, now, before I throw it to Fig, I'm going to say this for the record. This is what my wife and I were debating, because my wife said almost the same thing you said. Nothing of what I said was saying that Rachel Nicols was fired. Was racist. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily.
Oh no! I just use that as an example. I'm not saying she's racist, but yeah, I'm saying all I was applying to, because one of the things you pointed out was your belief is because it was a private conversation, it shouldn't have been applied to this public situation.
That's my point.
Get that.
Right.
I get that, but I don't agree with that. If it comes down to how you feel about certain things, then I have to make a judgment call on that as well.
Okay. All right. Fig, you tell me what you think. After everything I've just said, where do you stand on the Rachel Nicols firing? Do you think it was fair, or do you think it was unfair? Do you think you side with Bernadette thinking it was, fair or unfair? What do you think?
I'm a little disappointed that she was fired. I don't think that she did anything to the level of her being fired. I understand that maybe if you're promised a position or thought that you was in line for a position and you have tenure or longevity and somebody comes in and they skip over you for whatever reason, I could understand you being a little bit disgruntled, but I don't understand how it graduated to the fact of her being fired. Last but on another note, Malika Andrews was the one that was in the bubble during the NBA playoffs. It wasn't. It was.
Yeah,
right. But I'm not sure if she should have been if she should have been fired. I don't think with what she's saying, it didn't seem like that it went to the level of racism. I get it though. This is really bad. This is unfortunate because I guess arguing for a position in your job, but there's only certain things as an employee. There's only certain things that you can say about your employer without putting yourself in jeopardy. You know what I mean? And I believe that these commentators and sports analysts are contract workers. And when your contract's up, I believe they can let you go. It's not like I don't know, man. It's not like you have somebody that you could go to like a union or something like that that could speak on your behalf. It's unfortunate as far as I'm concerned.
All right, Rodney Perry, he's also joining the show. Rodney, have you been paying attention to what we've been talking about? You hearing?
Absolutely. Here goes, man. We love Rachel. We like you, Rachel. We like you. But your ass got to go. Okay? Donald Sterling. 2 words for private conversations. Donald Sterling. Nothing is private. Nothing. Like, if you say it, if there's a phone in the room, if there's anything electronic, if you're not completely blacking out electronics, I once was over Tyler Perry's house when we were shooting the film. You couldn't take a picture in this dude's house. Like, he had some type of block on electronics. So I say all that to say this: Rachel's ass got to go. In the words of Miss Holder, yeah, sorry, baby. And how about this? ESPN ain't just ESPN. ESPN is Disney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
ESPN is Disney. And they got enough racial stuff over there to deal with her bullshit. So, Rachel, we love you. Next time you get fired or you get, supplanted from a job, because it's stuff we don't know about too. Because a lot of players is really friendly with Rachel Nicols.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. But somebody might be serving our own
honestly, that's the thing. Everybody's saying she got something going on with Jimmy Butler.
Too many dudes like her.
Yeah. But honestly, okay, let me just throw this out there. I'm gonna start with you, Talent, because where do we stop with the private recordings? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do we stop with the private recording?
You don't. You got to assume you're being recorded, Frank. That's what I'm saying.
But see, how about this? How about just be a good person?
She was.
How about if you just be a good person? You don't have to worry about is Fig recording, is Frank recording, is right. How about if I'm a good person and I say what I really feel, I stand behind it? How about it doesn't matter who's recording? Because I believe in this. This is who I am.
All right, let me throw Mike. Mike, I don't know if you've been listening to while you've been setting up, getting in what's going on. We were talking about Rachel Nicols being fired from ESPN because of the private conversation she was having about Maria Taylor and everything else. And my thing was, like, I threw it out to the guys. My wife said that she felt it was right and everything else. My whole thing is, I don't feel it was right for them to fire her over a private conversation. even though because she, honestly, it's like me. I feel if I'm trying to do something, whether a person's black or white, and I'm feeling I'm in right the next in line, and somebody behind me comes up behind me and they overtake the position I want, I would feel some kind of way about that too. I mean, you know what I mean? Especially being in media broadcasting. I don't know, man. I think it was wrong for them to skip over her, and B, skip over her because of the blackness of, because it's the black thing, Black Lives Matter situations going on right now. Mike, tell me what you think, bro.
I think I agreed with her when she said, I'm catching a fall because of the bad tactics that ESPN has practiced against black women and women in general. So I understand her frustration. I think the person that really should be fired is the person who leaked that audio, because it's illegal what they did. What they did was illegal. And I will say this, on a personal conversation, I will stand behind something. Like if me and Taylor had a conversation and somebody recorded it and I was saying some crazy jokes about somebody, I stand by the jokes.
That's what I'm saying.
But the reason why I'm saying it to Talent is because I know it's just between me and him. And I know Talent is going to take it the appropriate way as another comedian. Now, so-and-so in the back leaks the joke that I made about a certain race or a certain gender or a certain person. I wouldn't have said that in public. I'm only saying it in confidence to Talent because I know I can say it to him and he'll get where I'm coming from. Once you release that to the world, now the interpretation goes all over the place, and now she's a racist, even though she's getting knocked down by a ball player allegedly. But now she's a racist, and now she loses a job, and ESPN just used her as a scapegoat to benefit off of, like, they're doing something good for women. Like, they're trying to act like they're the good guy in this. Y'all were the bad guys to begin with on your treatment of black women and women in general. So I think it's kind of messed up that she got fired over that.
See, now he took my stance, and that's where I was coming at. Is like she shouldn't have got fired.
I mean, what's the black girl that they fired over there?
Maria Taylor. They didn't even fire Maria Taylor.
Jamel Hill.
Somewhere else.
Jamel Hill.
Jamel Hill did far less than Rachel Nicols and got fired. So they have a precedent over there. And so Rachel, you out of here.
Jamel Hill did not do far less than what Rachel Nicols did.
Yeah. I got to disagree with you. She went, listen, as much as we hate Donald Trump, she went on Twitter and blasted the president of the United States.
Right. Yeah.
I believe what she said was absolutely right. But when you do that and Disney sees that, there's going to be some repercussions.
Right.
I think she was right.
What I'm saying is Disney has a track record of not going for the bullshit.
Right. But what?
Yeah, because
But what Jamel Hill did, she did it to the public, from the public to see. She put it out on Twitter for the public to see. Rachel Nicols was having a private conversation.
But that's her private Twitter account.
Huh?
Her Twitter account is private. That's her private Twitter account. You can make just like on Instagram and Facebook, you can personalize it, whatever. That's your Twitter account. So here's the thing. She did whatever she did. She stood by what she did. The repercussions are what they are. And that's the same thing with Rachel. Like, you say what you said. Once it's leaked out, you have to say whatever you say. You have to stand by. I'm sorry if I say cracker, and it leaks out. Gee, you sell all these crackers. Yeah, that was me. I felt like that at that moment. I was cracking out that day. You got to stand by whatever you said. She said what she said. It's borderline racial tension already going on in the country. We've been robbed hundreds and hundreds of years. And hey, you want to be this person because of this one job? Job?
But
you know what's kind of I was gonna say what's kind of funny about Talent, saying the crack crowd, crack it. That can happen to you if you happen to have lunch at Cracker Barrel. It does. That's when it affects. No, but anyway, what I'm saying is Disney is a children or family oriented company. We forget that ESPN is under the umbrella of Disney, and basically, where are you in this new society where everybody has a cell phone and they say Big Brother is watching and stuff like that? There's only very few places where you're allowed. What I think the word is where you're allowed a certain amount of privacy, where you can feel like you're having a private moment and it can't be leaked and it can't be used outside. And I believe it's like if you're speaking with a priest in a confessional, or if you're speaking with your attorney, there's a certain amount of privacy that you're allowed to have those conversations. But if you speak on social media, even though it's a private account, it's a public thing for the public to see unless you make your account private. Then only the people that you allow to be your friends can see what it is that you say.
Mike, you got the last word. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
real quick, two things. Jamil Fig touched on it. Jamil Hill put it out there. She wanted the public to see it. One of the places you should have privacy is in your own hotel room. You should be able to have a conversation. And let's not forget the man she was talking to was a black man that she was looking for advice from. She was asking a black man on how she should deal with this situation. And the person who leaked it, let's not forget, it is illegal what they did. And that person has gotten no ramification. If you tape something in my room without my knowledge and you put it out, that's illegal.
Yeah.
First of all, Mike, do not believe that you are alone in your hotel room and that these things are not being recorded.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Towels that we destroyed.
Yes.
All those bottles of lotion. All those lonely comedy show nights.
Yes.
And if you're in your hotel room next to talent, he does have a glass that he will put up against the wall and listen to what's going on in your.
All right, wait, let me jump on to the next conversation, man. Yesterday, we talked about what was going on between Narlens Noel and Rich Paul. The update, now, first of all, if you guys are not familiar with the thing, with the actual news story and everything else, Narlens Noel is suing Rich Paul for $58 million in lost wages and everything else. I found out this morning that Noel is upset not only for the $58 million he lost in lost wages, he also got a 4-year, $70 million deal from Dallas in 2017 that Paul told him that and turned it down. And Paul also refused to negotiate a return to the Sixers that Noel was having and everything else too. So he sat there and he calculated it all up. He comes up to $58 million. Now, if you guys are following this case and everything else, you're finding out that right now he got offered almost $5 million a deal recently, $5 million deal. So he's looking at like, man, I lost millions upon millions from the advice that you're giving me. And it seems to be wrong advice. I missed out on 2 major contracts. Talent, what's your thought now that we hear more specifics of the lawsuit that's getting ready to be filed with Narlens Noel?
Well, first of all, I got a lawsuit against Kevin Hart myself.
Oh, God.
All the money he made should be mine. So I'm still calculating, but everybody in that vicinity is getting sued. Plastic Cup Boys getting everybody. I think that all jokes aside, I think that this dude's delusional. I think that this is, again, we said it yesterday, this is a very dangerous, slippery slope and huge can of worms to open. And if you're able to sue somebody for the coulda, woulda, shouldas, that's going to open up a big can of worms that nobody's going to be able to close if this precedence of a case takes forth and God forbid he wins something. This is going to be a big can of worms open. We're not going to be able to close this back. Pandora's box. Trust. All
right, Fig, do you agree with Talent? Because according to what's going on, it looked like he has an actual case. He turned down 2 deals, especially a huge deal from Dallas, a 4-year, $70 million deal on the advice of Rich Paul.
You know, the key thing that you said there, Frank, was Rich Paul refused to negotiate a contract with somebody else. Something in the language that you use sort of opened the window to possibly. But here's the funny thing. When the machine, if you will, wants to get you, they will usurp rules and regulations to be able to get at you. Sort of like what they did with I know this is a little off, sort of like what they did with Cosby. They sort of broke the law so they could be able to get at him. And we know that Rich Paul is somebody that a lot of the organization or the machine, if you will, doesn't really like. So I'm wondering if they would be willing to skip over some details and some rules and regulations to go with Rich Paul so they could bring him down, because he is getting a lot of the major athletes and stuff like that. He's representing them. So will they go out of their way to get him? And if Rich Paul loses, maybe he won't be so rich anymore.
Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts, man, on this going on? You heard the deal. Rich Paul, 4 years, $70 million deal, gone. New renegotiation deal with the Sixers and everything else. Rich Paul told him not to do it. What's your
Well,
thoughts?
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Narlens Noel was definitely a Knick, which means that you know how they are. Anyway, so the deal comes up for the $70 million. Rich Paul said, "Hey man, hold off, because next year we're gonna get 100." This fool hurts his thumb, so they got a $100 million deal out. It ain't Rich Paul's fault for telling him not to take the 70. The 70 was gonna be 100 if he stay healthy. So this is the deal, man. Anytime you make a deal, ultimately, despite all the advice, thank you, my lawyer, my agent, my manager. At the end of the day, it's my decision for me and my family.
Yep.
You can't sue a guy because you listen to him. I'm sure you can't. Now, there may be some legalities as far as him doing his job and did he do his job, but it looked like he did his job. He set the man up to get $100 million. He just couldn't do it because he hurt his thumb. It's right here in black and white. So the next deal he got offered is $4 million. He like, what I'm gonna do with that? Hey, brother, sorry. You're a Knick, man. They still gonna love you in New York.
Mike Swan, bro, what you think, bro?
Yeah. What is the term we always hear in sports? He bet on himself. He bet on himself. He turned down that contract and he had a great year. That's what his agent thought was gonna happen. He said, Joe, we're betting on your talent. It wasn't just the thumb. He's not $100 million player. His career has proven he's not $100 million player. So, like Rodney said, at some point, be honest with yourself. You had to make the choice. I got $74 million in front of me right now, and you had to be honest with yourself. Am I in the $100 million bracket of forward/centers in the league? And if you were honest with yourself, you'd be like, nope, sure ain't. Thumb or no thumb. It don't matter what happened to your thumb because you was healthy. You've been healthy. And if you produce in this league and you're a $100 million player, which let's say you're averaging 15 to 20 points a game, that's not where you came close to. So honestly, your agent had more confidence in you than he should have.
Right,
Blame yourself for not going like, dog, real talk. I'm going to have to take the $74 million. I love what you're doing. I know how much you believe in me. But listen, I need this 4 years, $74 million right now. So don't get to suing nobody and do all. But hey, you never know. In this world, you never know.
Hey, he might end up getting some type of settlement, $20 million or something crazy.
Mike is right. You got to be true to yourself. He's not a $100 million player, but damn it, that's a $70 million thumb, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
Hey, let me tell you something. Rod Tidwell bet on himself, and he ended up winning. He played a whole season without a contract, and he ended up winning. And he told his agent, show me the money.
At the end of the day, too, you got to be like Carmelo Anthony, because when I look at this, I think of like Carmelo Anthony.
Like, who was Rod Tidwell? Okay.
Carmelo Anthony ended up getting a deal, too. You know, he later regretted it, but every deal that came across his desk, any offer he took immediately. And he later regretted not being able to join the Miami Heat because he wanted to do that. But he was like, man, he literally said it the other day on that podcast, man. You know, I took first thing that came at me because I didn't know what was coming on me the next year or if I was going to get injured. So it's both sides of this coin. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it.
Hey, think about that, Frank. Carmelo was nervous. Carmelo, a Hall of Famer, was nervous. And this dude really said, yeah, I'm going to roll the dice. You crazy right now.
Yeah. And Carmelo was nervous. This was 10 years ago, almost 15 years ago. Let's be honest. Yeah.
And on the real, maybe we should examine this. He probably should sue. I mean, it's not a bad idea to sue because
it's not.
He may end up with some settlement, probably not 56 million, but he might get 25 just to shut up.
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you this. Like I said before, the thing that gives me pause is that people will go out of their way to get at Rich Paul. That is the only thing that gives me pause about this whole thing, because on face value, the case really doesn't seem like it has any merit, because at the end of the day, the managers and the agents, they work for you. The final decision is yours. But will this machine, this conglomerate of agents and what have you, will they go out of their way and skip over some stuff just to get at Rich Paul? That's my concern.
I guess it depends on how you look at it, because I think you could have some merit. If you got 2 offers and your agent tells you 2 times to turn these things down, everything else, you could say, listen, man, I want to get out of the contract I have with you, and I'm going to sue you to get out of this contract because you got me. I got a 3-year deal for $70 million, and you turned me down from Dallas.
The buck stop with you though, Frank. The buck stop with you.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying I'm saying is a possibility in the language. I haven't seen language of the contract. But you got an offer. You got this guy telling you not to negotiate a deal with the Sixers because the Sixers will offer him some money, which I haven't found out how much money. You got a 4-year, $70 million deal with Dallas, and he told you not to do that too. He is your agent. He does work for you.
Yeah, work for you. You keep flipping it like you got to listen to this guy. No, it's your decision at the end of the day. You keep giving it power that it doesn't have. When I sit down with my agent, he tells me what's out there, what's being offered. He can't make me do or don't do. He's just the facilitator of what's out. That's his job. He's the agent. You hire him. You pay him. It's not the other way around.
Here's a good analogy. You doing your taxes. Your income tax guy say, look, dog, if I do this, and this, you can get a refund of $20,000. And you go ahead and do it, your ass going to jail. Not him.
Mm-hmm.
You.
That's
That's
a great point. That is an absolute great point. And just on the flip side, would he have complained then? Let's say he did. If Rich Paul would have told him sign that $74 million deal, right? And the next year he outplayed it. Would he have come back and bitched then too? Would he have been like, "Oh, you should have got me more money. Oh, I should have got that $100 million." Like, dog, it's a gamble either way. Like, it's a gamble.
It's a great point. That's a great point. All right, let's move on to the next subject, man. We talked about Sha'Carri Richardson at the beginning of this week, man, and Sha'Carri continues to stay in the news and everything else. And I'm gonna start with you, Talent. Sha'Carri Richardson, she took a shot on. She went online and was talking about Olympian Allison Felix. It wasn't the greatest way she was talking about her again. And I don't know. Black Twitter came at Sha'Carri again. My thought is this: somebody in the publicity department needs to reach out to her and say, listen, I'm gonna handle with you, I'm gonna deal with you and everything else, but you need to sit down. Like my wife says, also have several seats. Somebody needs to do that with Sha'Carri Richardson and say, yo, even though she's young, somebody needs to do that because she's becoming off the chain now. She's already been in the news twice in the last 7 days. Now, it's one of those things where she can say what she wants to say, but should she be saying what she's saying, Talent, is my question to you.
Is this the girl who got smoked?
Yeah, she got smoked.
Yeah.
She was smoking.
Let me tell you something. she got her ass handed several seats. Take several seats. But see, this is the detriment of youth. And I pray and knock on wood every day that my kids are this sound mind and they got these old souls, so they get it real early, because youth can be your greatest problem. You know how people always say, get out of your own way? This young lady is so far in her own way that, to be honest with you, because of what happened with the Olympics, that might be something she can't come back from. Mentally, she probably can't come back. We always talk about people who get beat for championships in different sports, lose their job to backup quarterbacks and stuff like that. And it does a mental thing that stays with you a long time. I think she's there, and it's sad because she's so young. So, I mean, she needs to take several seats. Your wife was right.
Fig.
Oh man, how do you unwrap this, man? I feel bad. You know what I mean? Because I'm wondering who this young lady has in the corner, and who is giving her advice, or if she has somebody that could give her some sound advice. That might be able to reach her. She lost a parent that I believe that she had her mom, which she had an estranged relationship, if you will, because she was being raised by a grandmother. It's just a lot to unravel here, and I'm wondering if this young lady is having a mental break in front of us, in front of the whole world, and nobody is really taking notice of it because she's an athlete, and that's the scary part about it. quick personal story. I had a close friend of mine, perfectly healthy, no problems, sound mind. His mother passed suddenly, that nobody, for no apparent reason. And shortly thereafter, he lost it, man. Walking in the street disheveled, talking to himself, he never recovered. Losing a parent or a loved one or somebody like that in your life, depending on your prior mental state, you never know how that will affect you. And I'm wondering if that's what happened to this young lady.
Great point. Fig, Rodney Perry, your thoughts?
I'm gonna flip this on its ear. Allison Felix said the right thing, the right public thing to say. She was asked what her thoughts was, and she made a great, her thought. I think what Sha'Carri is saying is, I just lost a race. I didn't go to the Olympics. And the first time you reach out to me is because of a question on a TV show. So do you really care about me? And I think that's a fair question. If you're Sha'Carri, you're 20-something years old, you like Fig said, your world is upside down, and a world-renowned, should be your mentor, should hit you up first before making a comment publicly. And I think that's what she was trying to say, although she wasn't very eloquent with it.
Yeah, great point too, Rodney. Mike, what you got?
Dan, that's a good point, Rodney, and it almost makes me want to change what I was going to say, but I'm not going to change it totally. I think your mentor, if she's her mentor,
right?
Let's be clear.
I don't think they know each other.
They don't even know each other. So my thing is, what you put yourself in this situation. I know she's 20, 21. I get it. When you did that interview after that track, after you got off that track, I told you last time we talked about this, you put a target on your back. The target is there now. And people who talk reckless like that in front of cameras are like guys like Deion Sanders, Roy Jones Jr. Those guys have to walk the walk afterwards.
They can back it up, yeah.
They got to back all that, period. I'm not going nowhere. So, sweetie, you just keep digging a hole deeper. And like everybody said it, I wish there was somebody who would take her phone away and say, use this energy in your training. You have one way to get back at everybody. You have one way to prove yourself, is to get back to training. And I want to correct myself. I said her best time that she ever ran would not have gotten her a medal. I was wrong. The best time she ever ran would have got her a bronze in the last Olympics. The best time she ever ran. But back to my point is, I wish somebody would tell her, take all this energy, get on the track, train, and then rock out. That's the only way you can fight back, because these words are going to get picked apart by all of us in the media.
Yeah, let's not forget either. They're going to get picked apart also by Black Twitter. Black Twitter cannot wait for you to mess up and everything else, so they can say a whole bunch of things against you and everything else. But let's move on, man. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm not sure if you guys have been paying attention to what's going on in the media business and everything else, but Stephen A. Smith is about to take over First Take and be the guy that handles First Take. Max Kellerman's getting ready to get fired. He's got his last week, is either this week or next week. So what they're going to do is they're going to do a swinging revolving door with Stephen A. being, the guy, and basically, he the guy there, and also have a late night talk show.
Stephen A. is becoming Skip Bayless, what Skip Bayless was back in the day.
Yeah, but my problem is this. I'm gonna throw it out to you guys, and you guys tell me what you think. My problem is this. I think ESPN is giving too much power to some of these media talking heads, because once they get in certain positions and they say so much against a certain player or two or three and everything else, they can lead a whole charge against you to get fired, to get hired, to get, whatever, depending on whatever's going on. Do you like what's being handled right now with the power and position talent and what's going on with these media talking heads, especially when somebody gets so powerful, so to speak, as Stephen A. Smith? And of course, now, what's going on with First Take, and look what happened with Rachel Nicols. I mean, just look at it all across the landscape, and up in North, up here, these guys in Boston radio are literally campaigning to get Cam Newton fired today. So I don't know. I mean, what's your thought process, Talent? What's your thought?
Well, I mean, that's the double-edged sword. Part of the problem is you need these people, and in the course of using it's television. At the end of the day, it's television. I don't care if you're a sportscaster, newscaster, You get a guy that paint real slow. Remember that guy with the big curly thing? You get caught up in that. It's TV. So because it's TV, you inadvertently, whether you like it or not, whether you wish to or not, you create what we know as stars, which become these spaces we see in our households. It's a television. You can't even find a household with one TV. The average household has 3 TVs. So when you put these people on all these TV screens, they become a face, a recognizable face and voice to everyone around the world who watches it, who passes through that spectrum. And guess what? That's the trade-off. Yeah, you have a person doing the job you want them there doing, but the trade-off is they become a well-known personality or celebrity, if you will, and you got to deal with it. Power or no power, you got to deal with it.
Yeah, Fig, to piggyback off of what he said, what I don't like is that they lead the masses and the masses follow whatever they say. That's what drives me nuts. Like
we've been doing that forever.
I know, but it seems like it's more worse now than like people more like sheep. But don't let me say, look, Fig, you tell me what you think.
First, I thought Max was moving on to a gig of his own, getting his own show.
Yes, he is. But he got fired from this. Yeah, he got fired.
He did get fired.
He got fired and he got moved on to another gig.
Is it fired?
He got fired.
He got fired.
And got moved on to radio.
I'll tell you this. I never bought into to Max Kellerman as a sports analyst as far as basketball and football is concerned. When he's talking boxing, he's excellent. But to be able to talk about all sports intelligently, I just never bought into it because he.
Yeah, but Fig, hold on. I got to interrupt you. I'm not talking about Max Kellerman. The question really is are we giving too much power to these media talking heads such as Stephen A? So pick up from that. Like Stephen A is the guy. He's going to be the guy on late night and daytime talk. Like he's the guy now. You know what I mean? So I want you to hold on that point. Go ahead. No, I don't mean. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was getting to that, but I wanted this. I didn't think that Max was anyway. So at the end of the day, is I guess we can say what we want, but it's in the age of social media, and the more fans you have, the more visibility you get because the more money you can make. So I think Stephen A is just one of those dudes, made his way up, has millions and millions of people that follow him on all social media platforms, every TV show that he's on. He is the voice and people want to see him. So he's basically getting his due. It's almost like in entertainment when a comedian or actor gets hot, then all of a sudden they're in all these blockbuster movies and what have you and stuff like that. In the sports world, Stephen A is the Denzel Washington, Will Smith type of guy that got popular. He having his moment, and they're giving him all these shows because millions and millions of people want to see him. It's as simple as that.
You made me shudder just now because you're absolutely right. I had to shudder. He really is. People in the sports world do look at him like he's the Denzel.
No, people who follow sports, not people in the sports world.
Right. Rodney Perry, you tell me what you think.
Look, you don't get to be pro-black and not be happy for what's happening to Stephen A. Smith. I mean, we're pro-black when it's Naomi and when it's a tennis player, some little girl playing basketball or something. You want to be pro-black then. You pro-black when the white woman steal a job, talk about the black woman. So when the black guy gets to run his own show after 20 years of experience, you don't have to like him. It's his job that you don't like him. Like it's by design that you don't like Stephen A. Smith. And so he graduated to carrying that show. And if Max Kellerman failed at anything, it was not producing himself as a viable opponent for Stephen A. Stephen A. tell you ain't shit, you can't just take it. So they let me on there.
I understand what Rodney Perry's saying, but some of that stuff I just don't agree with because honestly,
you're not supposed to. That's what I'm saying.
But honestly, I don't like dudes shouting, and it goes against everything I was taught and everything. Like shouting into the whole man. I can go on and on about that, but his
You
delivery.
ain't gotta like it, but it works and it gets ratings. Like
it gets ratings. It doesn't
you get
necessarily
more
mean it
ratings
works.
being an asshole than you do being nice. Right.
It
That's
doesn't
a
mean
fact. That's a fact.
it's getting ratings, but doesn't mean it
Matter of
necessarily
fact,
works.
shut the fuck up, Frank. Let's turn this shit up.
Mike, talk to me. What you think, bro?
All right.
We going viral.
Turn up, pig. Turn up.
Let me grab my gun. Hold up.
Shoot him in the air. Boom, boom.
All right, listen. Stephen A. Smith is a buffoon. Let me start with that.
Man, Mike.
Agree.
I can't be pro-black for a guy who wasn't pro-black on ESPN. When he debated Max Kellerman with Colin Kaepernick, I lost all about Colin Kaepernick and Max. Sounded like the black guy in the debate. I was disgusted with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith was asked a question on the Breakfast Club: was Jemele Hill right for what she said about Donald Trump? He wouldn't answer it. He still won't admit that what Jemele Hill said was right. She told the truth. Two things. I never thought I'd say this. The difference between Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless is that Skip Bayless, when he does his show with Undisputed, he saw a star in Shannon Sharp. And you know what he did? He enhanced it and said, go get that, go get it. Go do everything. Wear the goat hat, smoke the black and mild, do that. I'm supporting you, homie, because I know that you're a star. Stephen A. Smith can't work with another star. He would never give Max Kellerman the opportunity to actually be a star. He actually would shit on him and then wait for when they brought a third person in, he'd help him like Kendrick Perkins disrespect him. It was disgusting and weak. But the exposure is going to expose you, Stephen A., because you've been a failure on radio, and I know that for a fact. You failed miserably on radio. Your talk show, people forget you failed on that. So now they're going to give you the podium for everything. So now you can't blame anybody for anything. Max can't be a little scapegoat on why the show ain't working. It's all Stephen A. That's what you wanted. If it fails, it's on you now. And mind you, he doesn't talk about the ratings the way he used to talk about the ratings. Because it ain't the same, because when they sent off Colin Cowherd and they set up Skip Bayless off the Fox, everybody giggled and still they started getting traction. So Stephen was like, get Max out of here. He's the problem. Okay, Steve, you have it now. You do it all, superstar. You do it all. And just like you critique players being coach killers, we're now going to call you the co-host killer.
Woo!
Yo, that is on point there. Mike got the point of the day.
That ain't no point. I'm telling you why it's not the point of the day, because that's all predicated on the fact that he did have a successful time with Skip Bayless. He was a second guy. He had a co-host and they had a great show. And you take two guys, two alphas apart. Max Kellerman was never an alpha.
Rodney.
But Rodney.
Hold on, Mike. Rodney, ESPN secretly went back, not even secretly, ESPN begged Max Kellerman to come, Skip Bayless to come back. They begged him. He said no. They've been begging him to come back. Go ahead, Mike.
But once
Because he had
again,
a big fat ass payday.
hold up, but once again, Skip Bayless went to ESPN and said, get Stephen A. Smith. When Stephen A. Smith came on, what did he do? He let him shine.
Right.
He said, go do it, homie. Go get this money. Go make the show great.
I'm not disputing that, Mike. I agree with you on that. I'm saying Max Kellerman was not that guy.
He couldn't when you're a co-host. Hold up. Let me give you one example. When you co-host a show, right? And you have a debate and Stephen A. Smith to your face says, this is my show. That's it. Once somebody tells you this is my show, you realize I can't win these debates because if I go too hard, I lose the job. Steve never wanted to play on a fair. Number one, Stephen A. Smith
lost the job anyway.
And you're right. And you're right.
Like, let me tell you something. Somebody told me years ago, never dim your light to make another person shine. And so Max Kellerman, if he did do that, it's his fault, not Stephen A.'s.
But you got to understand the powers that be. Being a co-host on a morning show for a lot of years, the powers that be would be like, Mike, you're shining a bit too bright right now.
It's true. It's true.
We got to take this segment off that you're doing every day because things are starting to get we're starting to get people naming this show with your name.
You know what that reminds me of?
And Rodney, you're right. I shouldn't have listened. I shouldn't have listened.
You know what
And
that
you're
reminds
100%
me
right.
of? If you're on like all the comedians on here know, if you're on a show, you get an opportunity to open up for somebody, and you got a little bit too much heat, they be like, we gonna have to get rid of him, man.
Get rid of me.
Yeah, we need somebody else.
Get rid of me. Get rid of me.
Hey, Rodney, tell him to shut the fuck up. Tell him one more time.
Shut the fuck up, man. Excuse my language.
I was gonna say something, but that's funny.
You know what? Yo, you know what? I appreciate the show today, man. I like the show today because y'all gave us some great points, man. Today was extra special, but that's the show, man. We got to get it roll up out of here.
Wait, what?
You know what I love about this show is that Frank can see through anything.
I don't know if that was real or a shot at his glasses. Like, what are you saying?
Just a beautiful moment we was having. Fig, don't get it, don't read it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Now, everybody out there know how they can follow you, bro.
Hey, yo, follow me on all social media platforms. Twitter at It's Just Comedy, Talented Comedian on IG, and New York King Talent Harris on Facebook. Follow you.
Craig, talk to me.
Yo, man, you can follow me on all social media platforms and Comedian. Yo, this is hilarious, man. I love doing this, man. All social media platforms at Comedian Fig and Box Seats Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. This is Best Damn Sports Show on TV. Ask your ma and your pa.
Rodney.
Somebody tell Stephen A. Smith I'm available. I argue with your ass all day, every day.
You can't shine that bright on his show, though, Rodney. You can't do it.
I want motherfucker coming there naked one day. They can't stop me. Tell it. You can't stop me.
Rodney.
I'm getting fired the first week. My goal is to get fired the first week. That's what's gonna make you famous.
Yes.
I can't. I swear to God, yo.
Don't follow me. No more social media follows. Nobody else. If you ain't already in, you out. It's VIP only.
Mike, talk to me.
Yo, Rodney put up such a disrespectful reel that I unfollowed him for 35 minutes. I had to unfollow for 35 minutes because I was like, I felt dirty. I said he dirtied me. Pause. He dirtied me. Follow me at Mike Sean Comedy. That's all you got to do. At Mike Sean Comedy. I'll take all followers. I'm a whore. I'll take all followers. I don't care. Clan members, white supremacy. If you rated the Capitol, follow me. I don't give a damn.
Special group for you.
All right, y'all know what you did today, boys. The show's called Box Seats. It's on Monday through Friday, 1 to 2. The replays on Humor Mill channel from 3 to 4. Thank y'all for watching, man. We'll be back tomorrow. We got to finish having these more conversations. As you can see, there's a lot of debate going on here, too. That's Fig. That's Talent. That's Roddy. That's Mike. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Oh, man.